Hi everyone, good afternoon, and welcome to another thought-provoking, impactful, and interesting edition of Peace Talk with Mercy. My name is Mercy Ebute, your host, and it's always a delight to engage with you as we look at various issues happening in our society, in our country, to ensuring that they are addressed peacefully, they don't escalate into what we all don't want, which is war. So today at Peace Talk with Mercy, we'll be looking at one of such issues. But before then, how are you doing? It's a beautiful Monday out here, and I hope it's beautiful where you are also. Are you abiding to COVID-19, guidelines to ensure that we win the fight against the pandemic? Please continue to adhere because the battle is almost over. Yes, it's almost over. It's not over yet, but we are fighting a good fight, and COVID-19 will soon be history, leaving us alive, well, and strong to continue to fight for a better country. Thank you guys for joining this edition of Peace Up with Mercy. Thank you for always engaging on with our conversations. Please let me know that you are watching. Do me a thumbs up or just something. Send a message to say, hi, I'm here and I'm ready to engage, in this conversation. Thank you for all your love and support. Thank you for making contributions. Like I always tell my viewers, the people are building together will be your reality, to be the reality in your heart, in your home, in your family, in your community, and in Nigeria as a whole. Making peace a reality. That is our slogan. Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much for joining this edition of Peace Talk with Mercy. I hope to hear more from you concerning our topic of discussion today, which is building peace amidst ethnic tension. There's a lot of tension right now. Nigerians are rising up to begin to take laws into their hands because they want to defend themselves against killer Fulani headsmen who have been killing and doing all kinds of causing all kinds of havoc in our community. So thank you for joining this edition. My guests will soon be joining. I'll give a little background to our discussion and we would continue from there. Thank you guys. Okay, so please give me 1 minute. Let me sort our stuff here. Okay, guys, I'm trying to add up my guests. He just sent a request. Father Mark, please, can you resend the request? Okay. Oh, Father Mark, please, can you resend the request? I accepted, but somehow it's not connecting. Can you please keep resending until we are able to connect? Thank you, everyone watching. Sorry, please, I'm trying to sort out some things from here. But my guest will soon join us and we'll continue, or we'll start off our discussion. Thank you. Father Mark, please, if you're watching, resend your request, please. I need to. Thank you guys for joining. Hi, Catherine. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, everyone. Declined, or I'm having difficulties adding up my guests. Good to be here. Thank you, Godfrey. Thank you, everyone. So I'm trying to add up my guests, but it's pretty difficult, or the network is not connecting. But before he comes up, we are discussing building peace amidst ethnic tension. Of course, we've witnessed certain tension from the southwestern and southeastern parts of the country. How do we address that to ensure that it doesn't escalate into violence, into war? How do we address those kind of issues? Then, of course, ethnic rivalry is happening in most of the states in our country. So before I'm able to add my guests, I would like to define what ethnicity is. Ethnicity is defined as a community of people who have a common identity based on origin, kinship, ties, traditions, cultural uniqueness, a shared history, and possible shared language. People like to say, I am Igbo, I am Hausa, I am proudly Idoma. People are proud of their ethnicity, where they come from. People are proud of their ethnicity, where they come from. So you see fighting for their clothes.
Hello, Mercy.
And Igbos fight. Hi, Father. Good afternoon.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you. I'm glad that we are finally able to connect.
Yeah, we're having some problems with the internet connection.
Okay, but it's fine right now. You are
Yeah,
sounding
right
very
now
clear, and you're.
it's fine. Yeah.
Thank you. So thank you everyone who have joined. Mercy Ume Ochuma. Thank you so much, and of course Godfrey and then Michael, Catherine. I see all of you and everyone that
Yeah.
I'm able to see.
Brother Michael Ajayi is my big brother. He's following from the US.
Sorry. Oh, no wonder he's
Yeah,
been here.
it's my big brother. He's somebody I'm very proud of. He's following from the US.
Wow, big brother, thumbs up. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you very much.
And we hope to hear from him too on his take on forging peace amidst ethnic tension. So, Michael Ajayi, I hope to hear from you, Godfrey. As usual, Godfrey is a very prominent voice on Peace Talk with Mercy. I'd like to hear from you, Catherine. I'd like to hear from you, Mercy. I'd like to hear from you. Welcome to this edition of Peace Talk with Mercy. So briefly, I'm going to introduce my guest and we'll start our conversation immediately. My guest is Father Mark Alagi. He's a Catholic priest of the Diocese of Kole in the Democratic Republic of Congo. He's a human rights activist, and he's joining us all the way from Kinshasa in Congo, where he lives and works. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
So how is Congo?
Okay. The weather is relatively hot today, but it's good to be here to at least it will keep the brain hot as well.
Yeah, because the brain needs to be very hot at this moment. It needs to bring out
Yes,
all the information about our discussion. So it's all good. And it's also relatively peaceful in Congo. So it's all good.
Yes. For now, it's relatively peaceful, and we thank God.
All right. Straight to our topic of discussion, forging peace amidst ethnic tension. I want us to go back to history because ethnic tension has a bit of a historical background when it comes to tribes not tolerating themselves and all. So let's go back to history, to what I call the making of Nigeria, the 1914 amalgamation of the Southern and Northern Protectorate. Many see it as a mistake. Even Lord Lugard at a point said he made a mistake, for making that decision. Do you think that when it comes to ethnicity in Nigeria, the 1940 amalgamation, is it a blessing or a curse?
Well, when you talk about the amalgamation, you ask what was the reason for amalgamating Nigeria in 1914. Not to go into long history, you discover that the British amalgamated Nigeria for easy administrative and for economic reasons. It was not basically for political reasons, because they are the ones who are colonized these areas. And now to make it, one part of the area is richer than the other when it comes to economy, and then they wanted it to be easy, that things from one part of the colony can move to the other. And at that period, I think the North has a lot of agriculture when we talk of the granite and every other thing that was agricultural resources. But there was no means of exportation because there was no water side there or any port or anything for movement of anything. So to make it very easy economically for the British and for the colonial masters, they felt that the East or the West, or the South, which is much more vibrant in terms of easy access through the sea and everything, they had to use the resources from there to develop the railway transportation, and that was how the amalgamation came about for easy administrative purpose and economic purpose. It was not something that was planned that they wanted to amalgamate, but it was for that reason. They weren't looking into the future to see what is going to cause the two regions that have been amalgamated together to become a country.
Okay, because it looks like Nigerians addressed that as an unwanted marriage, and you could trace whatever ethnic issues we are having right now with that amalgamation. So I felt we needed to address that properly. And I would like to quote Alhaji Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, when he said that amalgamation of Southern and Northern Protectorate in 1940, Nigeria had existed only in paper. The British then, did it just in paper, but they didn't really seek the consent of Nigerians. They didn't bring Nigerians to the table to truly, discuss what they want and what the implications were. So Nigerians are still not very satisfied with the state of things when it comes to resource sharing, political offices and all of that. And also, almost the other leaders we had then spoke against amalgamation. So how can we go back to the table to make sure that Nigeria really comes together as one properly?
Now, how did we come into that? Who were representing Nigeria? The colonial master, they decide for us. We had no power to decide, or we had no voice at that period. It is whatever the colonial masters feed us with that we have to take. It's whatever they give us, we have to take. So there were no Nigerians on the negotiating table, even if they are there at the negotiating table in 1914 to decide about the amalgamation. How do you think that their voice will be heard? So as at that time, you will understand that there are limitations in terms of the decision making. The decision making lies only with the colonial masters. And then when you move forward to the time of independence, now when we at Abubakar Tafawa Balewa discovered that this is not going to be convenient for Nigeria, and we are fighting for independence. Why must they accept independence for the entire colony to become an independent colony? Why didn't they go back to the drawing board, look at the amalgamation and say, no, there's a problem here. You cannot marry us together, because if you give us independence, we are not even going to be in peace with one another, because there will always be tussle of power and the power sharing and every other thing, which includes the economy and then the political division of Nigeria. So when you look at it that time, they too, Tafawa Balewa, Abubakar and the rest made a grievous mistake by accepting that as part of the package for our independence. They would have gone to the drawing board, look at it and say, no, this is not going to work. So if we are going to give us independence, then each region should be independent on its own and become a country. But they accepted independence, and which was what now led to the civil war, where we knew that we cannot stay together because each region wants autonomy of its own. So that autonomy becomes a problem.
Here we are. Yes, so we are here already. We need to find ways to forge ahead. How can we correct mistakes like that and make Nigerians have one mind, one Nigeria? How can we still believe in one Nigeria in spite of the differences? How can we correct that?
How do you correct such a situation? First of all, you have to go back to the drawing board. There are a lot of Nigerians who don't know even aware of what Nigeria is all about, what their country is all about. There is a sense of patriotism to say each of us, we are of different culture, different tradition, different ethnic group, but unique in our own way. Each part of Nigeria is rich in its own way. The only way you can solve this kind of situation is going back to the drawing board and going back to federalism. The true federalism, where each part of the country depends on what comes in and then control from the center, which means that whatever comes out in my own area, I must have a higher percentage of that for the development of my area. Because today, if you look at Nigeria, we have not yet exploited all its resources. And then politically, we must look at it objectively, that we must have true representation instead of beginning to say, okay, this group is not the president, this tribe is not the president this year, this region. Understand our different strengths and weaknesses, and then understand what each ethnic group or each tribe represents. So when we can respect each other's differences and then harness our similarity, I think it will go a long way to help us. And from my own point of view, I think federalism is the best answer to this our situation.
Yeah, I accept that too. So what other factors do you think are the causes of ethnic tension in Nigeria? What other causes outside the whole amalgamation thing that is not wanted by most?
If you talk about ethnic conflicts and the rest, we've lived with this for many, many years. Like, for example, look at what is happening in Oju local government at the moment, my own local government, where I come from. You talk of ethnic conflict. This is Spanish conflict now. These are people who speak the same language. These are people who have the same culture. These are people who share the same value, intermarried. So there is nothing that you can separate an Igede man, that this Igede man speaks the same language. We are from the same ancestral foundation. But there is still tension. Why? The ethnic tension comes either because of two reasons. Some reasons, I will mention two basic reasons. One, political reason, and then land disputes. Because you see people living in peace for a long time, but when there's an issue of land demarcation or political appointment, then there's tension. Because everybody wants a sense of belonging. Everybody wants to be recognized. Nobody wants to be marginalized. Like, for example, what happened in Oju just recently, 3 days ago, they are saying that, okay, the National Population Commission did land demarcation on the paper. But before you do land demarcation and go into national population or into census, first of all, you have to bring all parties who are involved, all stakeholders together. You have to bring the ethnic groups or the villagers together, or two different villages, and tell them, okay, this is what is going to happen. You know the boundaries of your areas. You know where belongs to where. The two stakeholders, the two villages which are very close, who shares boundary or who shares the common market or common river or common resources or facilities, should come together and say, no, we are the ones who have lived here for years. Our fathers have lived here. We know the difference of the demarcation, and we've been living in peace. So, but some other group we feel hard done that on paper, the government or whoever is in charge will come and say, okay, this area belongs to this area. Probably the other ethnic group has had that feeling that this area is ours and we have lived there for long. So why should we be counted into the other village amongst them? And that is where you have what we call the identity. Everybody wants to protect their identity, wants to protect also that this is where I come from and I should not be ceded to any other place. And that brings about tension. And that is what just caused the problem in Uju. Because the government has not really sit down to involve the people in these decisions. They sit down, do things on the paper, and then wanted to feed the people with that. And then when there's tension, they will feel, especially if the person in charge is from the other side. This other side will take it as an injustice, as if you want to assimilate them. So there must be conscientization and awareness that will help them understand that we have this place, we've been living in peace. So there is something coming to us. How are we going to share it that everybody will be satisfied? And that is where you see some places they create where there is cosmopolitanism, where people live together of different tribes, different ethnic groups. The government do it in such a way that it will not sound as if some people are being favored more than the other person. They create a common ground for everybody who lives there. And that is example too of a barracks council ward in Igede land too. There was conflict there many years ago. And then to solve the problem, there is the Villa Council Ward, there is Uju Council Ward, and there's Barracks Council Ward. And that solved the problem. So they see Barracks as a cosmopolitan area where everybody can come and live. So how do you solve this problem? Is by taking the people along. Let them know what is coming before you decide on them. Don't decide for the people who are going to be the recipient of what you want to offer them or else. Are they really ready for what you want to give them? The government must look into that. And that is the only way that the people are aware, that the people are involved in the process of arriving at what is going to happen. Then you reduce the ethnic or the the ethnic tension between two ethnic groups who are sharing the same boundaries or who are sharing the same area.
Thank you so much, Father Mark. So you're saying that our leaders and elders in our communities and in the country should engage robustly with key stakeholders when it comes to resource sharing and ensure that no party is aggrieved. And once a party is aggrieved, we have left a loophole for crisis, for tension. And once the government don't the occasion, people begin to take laws into their hands. That is the case. And that's the case we are seeing in the Southwest right now with Sunday Igboho, rising up to fight killer Fulani headsmen in the West. And right now it's been a lot of tension both in the West and in the East. It is something that needs to address urgently. So in looking at that particular issue with the header situation, how can we properly address that?
Mercy, you see, there is one thing people fail to understand. There is nobody who will come into your territory without an invitation. There must be somebody there who has taken responsibility for accepting them to come and live within your region. If you do not open your door, a visitor will not enter into your house. You must have welcomed the visitor. And the problem is that there must be terms and conditions of living in each other's territory. And if that is clarified from the beginning, but unfortunately in Nigeria, there are selfish tendency within the leaders and the traditional rulers. They accept Greek gifts or they accept certain remuneration from the so-called habitants who are coming to stay, to graze. And at that time, when these people are comfortable around there must be miscreants amongst them. And that is why when you want to bring people into the area, there must be terms and conditions of their living with you. And they must respect your culture and tradition and whatever you represent. Because those are the elements that makes you who you are and keep your unity together as a people. So when they want to come in, they should understand this situation before you allow them settle down. But when you have allowed them settle down and you're beginning to discover that there are miscreants, you must go back to the rules of engagement again and remind them consistently, so this is not our earlier arrangement. And that brings me back to where the people also should be aware of whatever arrangement or agreement the king or the governor or whoever is entering with the invaders or the foreigners who are coming in. If the people are aware of that, they will know how to live, cohabit peacefully with one another, because these people know the terms and conditions of why they are in your place.
Okay, talking about terms and conditions, do they have to go to to the governor or to some kind of community leader to make an agreement on terms and conditions that they should use to reside there? Because I think as Nigerians, you could stay in any part of the country. You are free to stay in any part of the country. Was there like an official agreement between them and leaders of the state?
Now, Mercy, that is another misconception in Nigeria. As Nigerians, we can live and stay in any part of the country. We cannot just go and live in somebody's land. There are land rules, and there are people. Every culture, every tradition, every place has its rules and regulations. I cannot just get up and go to somewhere and build a house there and say, because I'm a Nigerian, I go to any part of Nigeria, I don't buy a land, I don't have a CFO of land, and I build there. Will it work? That won't work. There are laws guiding us, and there are rules and regulations of each place where you live in the country. And that is why we have state of origin, local government of origin, village of origin. We have those things. We will not have those things if you can live anywhere you like in Nigeria. So once you want to come to my area, you understand that there are rules and regulations guiding every part. And we have our custom and traditions which guide us too. So in that case, when you are coming, you have to accept whatever we do. Take, for example, in Australia, for example. Australia, the Prime Minister, or the President said, Australia is a Christian country. He said that Australia is a Christian country, and it must be respected. Nobody should come and distort the Christian identity of the country. It is built on Christianity, on the foundation of Christianity. Every other religion is free to worship freely, but nobody should distort that which gives the identity and the foundation of the country. So it's the same thing. So there must be terms and agreements if you want to come and settle in my place.
Nigeria is a secular country, and everyone is free to freedom of religion and whatever they want to do wherever they stay. I understand that there are laws guiding every state, but we should also understand that it's a secular state and people should be given freedom to worship and do whatever they want to do. However,
Fine.
how do we differentiate between the criminal elements and the real killers? At the end of the day, those that we are asking to leave our land might just be innocent, peace-loving Nigerians, while the killers are lost somewhere in the bush, still planning to carry out another criminal act. So how do we ensure that we don't cause unnecessary tussle between the Fulanis and the Yorubas or the Igbos? How can we differentiate between criminal elements and real meaning Nigerians?
Now, Mercy, that is why I tell people that those who are the elements, criminal elements, live within us. They are not ghosts. Sometimes we are the ones who shield them. The security of every person starts with him. If I do not have security consciousness, how do I expect the soldier or the police to come and protect me? When I know that the person living next to me, probably his means of, he lives a suspicious life, his means of livelihood is not clear. And then if I see such a person, I think in my true conscience for my own security and for the security of the people around me, I think I should be conscious enough to tell the security agent that this person looks suspicious. But sometimes you see the situation in Nigeria that we shield those who are the evil elements, the criminals, the bandits, because of sometimes political reasons to discredit either who is in.
Amongst them. Sorry to cut you there. Are you saying the Fulanis are shielding the criminal elements amongst them?
It's not only the Fulanis shielding the criminal elements among them, even the indigenous who live there, who get corrupt one way or the other by the criminal elements, shield them. Because you can't tell me that you live there, you don't have indigenous who don't know these people. There are indigenous who know them. So if there are those indigenous who know them, there are collaborators amongst them. Sometimes when these people come, somebody had to lead them there. And it cannot be, it's not even a Fulani who is living there, the Fulani bandit who is living there, even an insider. It's even in military terminologies that you see that there must be an insider before you can attack the enemy's camp. So when you look at it that way, those who live there knows the roots, they know every nook and cranny of that village or that town. Sometimes we aid those people to come and attack us for selfish reason again. So we must rule that out. Despite the fact that bad elements are within the Fulanis, also amongst those who are from those indigenous people, also have bad elements amongst them. And that is why you see something, you see one thing, there was a day you and I shared, and I said something. We don't give a dog a bad name because we want to hang it. That we have a common enemy doesn't mean that it is that enemy who all the time is perpetrating evil. There must be somebody who is hiding behind that common enemy to perpetrate evil because we already have a common enemy that it is this group. And that is why if we give the right information to the military or to the security agents, they will be able, through our help, to fish these people out. So when you see foreign elements around your area, how do you react? Maybe you see Fulanis who are just coming and you've never seen this group of Fulanis. Why don't you report it and say, no, there are new people who have come into this community. I don't know what they are doing here. But when you become ignorant and you don't report,
Okay, let's talk the break of trust between citizens and security agents. You're talking about having a good relationship, communicating when you see something in your environment that doesn't look okay and all that. But then there's a break of trust. That's why Nigerians are beginning to take laws into their hands, where we feel like our security agents are not doing enough. We are even thinking that they are collaborating with this element, to become a security threat to us. So there's a break of trust between us and the security agent. So it is a whole lot. This thing is not about citizens or police officer. No one is to be blamed for me. Everyone needs to come to the table to discuss how can we all fight together. So how can we remove that gap between citizens and security agents and fight this fight together? And of course, I've already asked this question: how can we ensure that all Fulanis are not bad? How can we ensure that we don't stereotype them as killers just because there are criminal elements amongst them? And then how can Nigeria bring a permanent solution to herding in Nigeria? They talk about ranches and all of that. So we need to find solutions and move ahead and live beyond this whole tussle. How can we find solutions, Father?
Thank you very much, Mercy. Mercy, first of all, we must be very careful not to generalize or to tag a particular tribe as bandits or green Fulani, because when we look at it generally, when we generalize, we might make the error of stigmatizing every Fulani person we see as a bandit or a criminal. That is not a good starting point. You know, I mentioned that one time to a friend, and he was like, oh no, every Fulani. I said, no, it's not every Fulani. Within every tribe, within every cultural group, within every person is a criminal. We have our criminal elements amongst us. But when we do ethnic profiling and say the Fulanis, then we are making a big mistake. First of all, we have to engage with those who are responsible amongst those. We talk about headsmen. It is not every Fulani that is headsman. There are Fulanis who are educated, who are in schools. There are Fulanis who are doctors. There are Fulanis who are lawyers. There are even Fulanis who are Christians. So when you look at it, you first of all look at it. Who are we dealing with here? Are we dealing with Fulani in general, or are we dealing with the criminal elements within those headsmen? Because we've been living with headsmen for a very long time. Most of us, the Fura and Nunu we drank, they live with us. They're even friendly. Now there's a change of situation amongst them now. The evil ones, the bad elements are there. What do we do here? We engage with those who are good amongst them. Those who are good among them, give them the awareness that your life too is in danger if you do not expose among you to give you a sense of they give you that sense that these people are against you, or we should take over this place for ourselves. That is the first thing to do. We should not stereotype. We should not generalize. When we do that, we'll be able to sort out who is who. Now, when you come to the security agent and the people as a whole, there was been mistrust from long time ago, because Nigeria, there is a point during the military rule. So that thing is still in our mind, that you cannot trust a security agent because of oppression. We've been oppressed by the security, which lead to the NSAS situation. And when you do that, that is why I'm an advocate for for state policing. That each state will be able to have its own police. The people who understand the people who understand the terrain, and the police who understand the situation. You must understand the context and the content of a situation before you can resolve the problem. And that is why sometimes you cannot bring a police who is in South to come to central Nigeria. He does not understand the language. Does he understand the language? No. Does he understand the people? No. So state policing is not even a bad idea, because it is now the people amongst them that they are choosing those who are going to police them, who are going to guide their security, and there is thirst of exchange of ideas. So that is one of the ways out. And the other way out is to bring to more awareness of the relationship, security agents and the people relationship. The security agents who are being trained, our security agents are ill-trained, they are ill-equipped, they are not even, most of them are not fully educated. So you don't understand who does not go through proper police college, or who just went through the Nigerian Army, training center, training school without proper education. So education is also important, and how to relate with people, because first of all, they should be made to understand that they should be responsible for the security of the citizen. So there should be a cordial relationship between the citizen and the security agent. And once that cordial relationship is there, they can come to the round table and discuss security, and then take that as a point of view of how to tackle the criminal elements amongst us.
Thank you so much.
So
Father.
one of the best ways is that I advocate for state policing.
State policing, very well. Security, state policing like Amoteku, and then the ESN, East Security Network.
Okay.
And then his buying. So you're thinking
now,
there should be...
that is more of a regional thing. When you talk about state policing, these are police that are at the disposal of the governor, which means that that security, whatever they give him, for security votes they give him in terms of money, should be used to form those kind of police. When you talk on Amatek, we say it's a western, southwest formation, which involves all the states there. Then you talk of Eastern Security Network. It's good too, it's there. But the people who are even coming into this security network, who are being recruited, how well equipped are they mentally or socially to engage with people? You just heard recently that they said Amateku were killing people in the West. So now, where are they well trained?
That allegation. They denied
yeah,
the
there was an allegation. Well, there was an allegation, but it starts from allegation. And then the people will begin to mistrust them if those allegations are proven to be true.
So because are you saying that the original policing is a no-no?
Okay. So if the if the commissioner of police have said no, then Amotek or any other police must have to build more on that negation that has come, that they have given them vote of confidence to build more of trust from the people. Because those kind of allegations will come in once in a while. And before you know it, the people who already are afraid of security agents because there was no trust will begin to fear them too. And they'll say it's like moving from fry pan to fire. So, and another thing is that the governors should be made to take responsibility for what they do with the security vote. What do they do with it? Do they really spend the money, use the money for the reason why it is given to them? So we should not be turning only to the Center for Security. We have the number one security officer in the state is the governor. So what does he use the security vote for?
Okay, Father, can you hear me? So
I can hear you.
In your own case, they more on state policing, not regional or community policing.
Not regional, state policing. Because every region, you talk of region, we have our differences again. And we all have different security challenges.
Okay, but I was thinking when it's broken down to that level, you know, the regional people are the ones more on ground who understand the terrain, the environment, they understand the people they deal with, you know. So their eyes are on ground there. And I'm thinking it's a very good and effective way of policing. But however, your suggestion on state policing maybe should be considered and looked into by experts. Let's see, because when it comes to finding solution, anyway, man, we need to try various things and settle with what works. But when we are not doing anything at all, that is where the crisis is and our insecurity issue will keep deepening. But then when we are trying to find solutions here and there, I believe we will arrive at the solution. However, do you think the government is doing enough when it comes to addressing these various tensions, when it comes to the things they are saying and doing? Don't you think it's escalating more of the violence? People are feeling aggrieved that the government don't care, the government is one-sided. So how can the government talk to Nigerians or carry out governance in a way that no Nigerian is aggrieved or feel marginalized?
Okay, thank you very much, Mercy. So every act of governance starts from the grassroots. It starts from the grassroots in the sense that we elected representatives to represent us in talking to the government when we are grieved or when we have our concerns. How much participation are these legislators or they should not see us as the problem in the sense that they should not exploit our sensibility for their political gain. So when you talk of government, when you talk of who is representing you, if you send me to represent you, I should represent you in the right way that, okay, this government, there must be rules of engagement and there must be continuous dialogue. So that what I've sent you to, when you send me to represent you, I should be able to know what your interests are and I represent your interests. When everybody is focusing on the center and forgetting those that we have elected that should represent us there, how much will our voice be heard? You and I cannot go and sit in the House of Assembly. You and I cannot go to Aso Rock, but somehow we can reach our local government councillor, chairman, governor, House of Rep members, House of Assembly members. It comes from there. So we should start from there And the only way this thing can work in Nigeria is when we begin to hold accountable those we have elected to represent us. When we don't hold them accountable and we're focusing on the center, our problem will never be solved. And then when they come back, we hail them. They tell us the government is not doing well. But you are part of this government. You are getting the security vote. You are getting the constitutional vote for development and everything. What are you doing with it? So you come back and you become very rich and we worship you. So there must be an engagement from the grassroots to the top. But unfortunately, somehow we start from the top. We're accusing the top, but we're forgetting whom we send to represent us at the top. So when we hold them accountable, they will be able to hold the one at the top accountable on our behalf. So that is the way the system should work. It's not that we should be focusing our fingers somewhere when those who are the source of our problem are just right beside us or live within our vicinity. They are the ones who choose to represent us. And so how is their representation? Are they really representing us? So when you talk of government and people, there are procedures and there is a chain of command until you get to the top. If the legislators feel that the president is not doing well and they call him to order, do you think the people will worry? But when those who are to make to legislate, who are to bring the presidential, or what do you call it, the executive arm to order, don't do that, how do you think your voice and my voice will be heard? They should be our voice. So there will be more or less of grassroots awareness of what representation means, or who is representing you, and what is that person representing you doing, or is he doing the right thing? You start from there. And that is the way we can solve the Nigeria problem of governance, and trust will come back. And the marginalization we think about, or nepotism or whatever, will not even be an issue. What we'll be looking more at is that, is there progress? Is there communication? Is there representation? And that is where we lose it. And the politicians in Nigeria are taking good advantage of that. And that is why you see them bringing the issue of ethnic, tribe, or whatever, region, and all these things. They use it politically to manipulate us, and we are the vulnerable persons. Because when there is tension, we are the ones, the recipients of the evil or the bad that will come upon us.
So you're saying if Nigerians rise up and hold their leaders accountable, they'll be more responsible as leaders.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, does it have to get to that? Can't our leaders do the right things? Shouldn't they at least be able to a large extent, do what they need to do? Especially now that the tension is high, I feel like government needs to intervene and do something urgently. So they need to take responsibility in providing security for the country and ensuring that there is some level of peace and we are not going to go into war. So what should the government do? I know Nigerians should hold them accountable, but they also have a responsibility to provide security and some basic things for Nigerians. And once that is not in place and Nigerians are beginning to complain and not even wanting to engage with them at all, as leaders, what should they do?
The leaders as leaders, there are people who don't even have the leadership quality, but they force themselves into leadership. So when you say, what do you do? We are talking from the angle of vulnerability. We are vulnerable. We are the vulnerable ones. We are talking from the angle of vulnerability. So when we are talking from that angle, it means, Mercy, we should understand one fundamental thing, that before you engage with the government, you must have access to that government that you want to engage with. If you don't have access to somebody, how do you engage with that person? How do you present your right? And that is coming back to my... No, that comes back to my premise. No, that comes back to my premise that we elected some people to represent us there. And we can have access to those people. Why don't we start with them? Those are the people you should start with. Who are they? Your councillors, your chairmen, your governors, your commissioners, all those in elected positions, before you even get to the president. When these people are feeling the heat, I bet you Nigeria will change. When they are the ones, they know they are no longer safe with their people. When they know that their people are aware that they are manipulating them, everything will change from there to the top, and they will get what they are looking for. Because the president cannot just carry things, or the president cannot just send to you like that without somebody intermediating between you and them. There must be an intermediary. There are ministers there. There are senators there. There are House of Rep members there. So instead of us to ask them, we are not asking them, we are shouting at the top, but they are the ones who collect from the top on our behalf. So what they collect from the top on our behalf, what do they do with it? So when they feel the heat, I bet you Nigeria will change, because they will know it is no longer business as usual. They are the ones drumming the beat, excuse me, they are the ones drumming all the sentiments of tribalism, of nepotism, of sectionalism, of material, so that they will cover themselves. When the people are focusing on the wrong direction, they keep enriching themselves. Look at our senators, look at the federal, look at their bogus allowances and everything. Something that is enough to develop a whole town. So where do we start from?
Okay, Father, thank you. We are going to move away from that discussion. But when you talk about feeling the heat, I know what happened during the EndSARS protests. All Nigerians, even the Lagos State governor came out and said they didn't see this coming, that Nigerians, young people were going to stand up and really give them a fight for their leadership or for whoever they are. But the point is that these people come back with even more heat. We saw what happened to the EndSARS protest. You know, so these things we are discussing, they are really, I don't want to use the word complicated, but it's something that is extensive, and we really need to look at it critically. But I'll always advocate for sincere leadership from our leaders, you know, sincere leadership and sincere engagement from our leaders. It will go a long way in solving these problems. But moving away from the discussion of leadership and the people, what do you think? Do you think that we should de-emphasize ethnicity like we see in Rwanda? After the war, they had to de-emphasize ethnicity to forge one-mindedness as a people. So they don't see themselves as Hutus and Tutsi anymore. We don't get to see ourselves, okay, I'm Igbos, you know, I'm being marginalized. How can we build that in Nigeria, de-emphasizing ethnicity? Let's be Nigerians. Let's be human beings first, you know. How can we inculcate that kind of understanding? Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining. The network is pretty bad from my side. Okay, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back.
Off a bit. All right, you're welcome. Let me back to viewers a little. So thank you everyone who has joined, who is still watching. Please let me hear from you. You've heard our discussion so far on ensuring that we ease the ethnic tension in our country. What do you think so far? What is your opinion on this topic? From what my guests have said, what do you think? Do you agree with him largely, or do you disagree with him? I would like to hear from you. And thank you again for joining. All right, back to you, my guest, Father Mark. The question on de-emphasizing ethnicity, this whole thing of I am Igbo, I am Hausa. At a point, Rwanda, after their war, they had to de-emphasize ethnicity, you know, to have a more united mind or a more united thinking. If this thing is happening in the East, it's happening in all over the country. Everyone should feel it. Everyone should be concerned about the situation. How can we build that in Nigeria?
Mercy, one of the things you can never run away from is this ethnicity. Everybody sees his ethnic inclination as his identity. Where we come from makes us sometimes who we are. We cannot run away from that. But one of the things that can really help Nigerians to grow out Nigeria to grow out of this ethnic tension and everything is tolerance. We should learn to tolerate each other and understand each other's differences and similarities. Nigeria is blessed when it comes to its cultures, its uniqueness, its traditions. If you want to do, every part of Nigeria is blessed. When you are even talking of ESN and all these other places, something came to my mind that if you want that, well, if you want to form all those regional security, this thing for tolerance and everything, what do you do with the middle belt of Nigeria, which is comprising of how many ethnic groups? The middle belt of Nigeria, central Nigeria is comprised of a lot of ethnic groups. So what kind of security firm are you going to, operation are you going to establish there? Because if you say you should form something that is similar to the Kogi people will say, no, we are not Benue people. Benue people will say, no, we don't want that. We want something that is similar to Benue, this thing. So what we say is tolerance. When we learn to tolerate each other and respect each other's differences, we will live in peace. And that tolerance comes to understand that we have boundaries that we must not cross. We must respect each other's boundaries. And that inferiority and superiority complex thing should not be in the coffee, because we share the same country, and therefore each person should belong in. And once we are aware of this, it will help us go a long way to solve a lot of these tensions. And once government engages in us, National Orientation Agency, what are they doing to promote this? Because when you have all these kind of structures, these structures should teach tolerance, should teach respect. And that is why when, as priests, when we go to anywhere, the first thing we learn before we even assimilate into the people as a whole to begin to do whatever we are sent there to do, is to understand the way the people think, their philosophy of life, their culture, their traditions. We're not going there we can't change them, but we can integrate into it and respect what they had before we got there. So we don't see your culture or your tradition or anything as more superior than the other person. You are from different entities, but you can harness them and integrate it to bring about the beauty of unity. What you have is good. What I have is good. Whatever everybody have is good. Let's bring it together to form a common ground that will help us further, that will foster peace between us. So when there is that tolerance, because don't forget, some of the things that causes ethnic conflicts is the rise of number of major theoretical issues, such as whether those conflicts decrease or tolerance. Maybe, for example, politically we want to share power. We say it is the turn of people to have power, and these people don't want to let go of power for the other person to at least rule. Then you begin to see that there's tension. And say, why is it that it is these people in this our ethnic group or this region that are ruling us? Let's talk about senatorial districts. So the senatorial zone. Maybe you have over 5 ethnic groups in a senatorial zone, and then it is only one of the ethnic groups that is producing the senator, The other people will feel marginalized and feel excluded. And they will feel they have been treated badly. That will bring tension. And once that tension comes in, and those who are not actually sound-mindedly and charged up emotionally, then there's problem. So we should be able to have proper division of power, that the resources that comes in
Okay, so there's a break. There's a break with the network again.
Are you with me?
I lost you a bit, Father. I'm with you, but let me say hi to my viewers again. Oh, I lost my guest, and we're talking strongly on how to build, like, reduce the emphasis on ethnicity, but he's going to send a request again and we join. Thank you everyone for joining. Tefa, Samsi, you made it today. I'm glad to have you. I'd like to hear from you on our discussion so far, but we've talked on how we can de-emphasize ethnicity in our country and have a one-minded, one Nigeria-mindedness as a people. We need to think as one people, and our leaders need to do so much to ensure that they deliver on their security promises to the people, but we all have a role to play. I'm waiting for my guest to come up, and we'll be rounding off this discussion with his final words, but I lost him due to some network issues. Father, please can you send back the request? Thank you everyone for joining. I see you. Even though I can't see your name, I see some faces and I can see some names. Thank you guys for joining. We are talking building peace amidst ethnic tension in the country. So my guest, I'm expecting you. While we are waiting for my guest to join us again, I said I'd like to hear from you, Samson. Everyone, Mr. Michael Ajayi, you've been here. I would like to hear from you. What is your take on ethnic tension in our country, and how can we ensure it is resolved? This discussion will go a long way to help us build better understanding for ourselves. We have seen a lot of tension around the country, even before recent times. It's always been there. You go on Twitter, Yoruba is trending, Igbo is trending, Fulani or Hausa is trending, because there's a tussle between these major tribes. We need to address them. Government need to stand up to say we are one Nigeria. Bring discussants to the table to talk on how to ensure that everyone is carried along when it comes to resource sharing, when it comes to power, and when it comes to the things that everyone need as Nigerians. That is our discussion today. So do you feel good as a Nigerian? Are you aggrieved? Do you think our government is not doing well in carrying all the tribes along? I know our president said it belongs to no one, and yet it belongs to everyone. So I don't know if he has done well in keeping to that line of discussion which he had during his first inauguration. Let me hear from you guys, but it's very important that we have this discussion. And my guests have said so much already on us taking responsibility, tolerating one another, no matter your tribe, and then of course building better relationship with our security agents, supporting them in the fight against insecurity. If you notice anything around you that is threatening, or you see a new phase, or you see someone who looks a bit criminal, report these issues. And of course, we have to not stereotype saying that this tribe is criminal, or these Fulanis are killers. We shouldn't stereotype or generalize that way. Every tribe have criminal elements, so we need to fight this fight together. I can't wait to have my guest join us back, and he will be talking to us finally on the Constitution. A lot of people think that the Constitution that binds Nigeria together is a fraud and needs to be changed. Is that your thought? The Nigerians need to be brought to the table. Representative of our tribes need to be brought to the table to see how we can move ahead together, restructure, let all the states, manage their resources very well, remove like much power from the center and all of that. That's the thinking Nigerians are having now. So what is your thought? Father Mark, please can you resend the request? I tried adding you and it didn't work.
Sorry, you lost me there, Mercy.
Oh, good to have you back, Father.
Sorry, the internet went off.
Okay, so finally now, because we've really talked for an hour and all of that, we really touched on the issues. But finally,
okay,
Nigerians think that the Constitution as amended in 1999 is a fraud, and it doesn't address the various interests in the country. And if we really want one Nigeria and want Nigerians to work together as a country, we need to go to the table, bring all stakeholders together to look at how they want to run the country and have a proper Nigerian constitution. But the one we have right now is a fraud. Do you agree?
To some extent, Mercy, I think I will agree with that the constitution of Nigeria should be reviewed. It should be reviewed to accommodate every aspect of our lives as Nigeria. And it should even be reviewed in the sense that mostly in the aspect of religion, so that we will understand that Nigeria is not made up only of Christianity and Islam. We have other religions in Nigeria, even though they are not as pronounced as Christianity and Islam. So we should actually, if Nigeria is a secular country, in respecting religion, that each person have freedom of religion and everything, they should not give emphasis to some particular laws in the Constitution, religious laws. That is also very, very dangerous in how people look at it. Because if there are religious laws that reflect in the constitution, that religion will feel that they are more of a superior religion than any other religion in the country. And that could be accepted as the religion of the country, because when you go anywhere or to anybody who want to talk about it, they will look at it first of all from that point of view, that whatever religion that is emphasized and had their law is recognized in the constitution becomes the religion of the people. And that is why you see the issue of the fear of Islamization. It is not because Nigeria will be Islamized. It's because there's a reflection of Islam or Sharia law in the constitution. So it should be reviewed. It should be reviewed in the sense that, okay, fine, this Sharia law should be left for the Sharia court of law. It should not be reflected in our constitution. So religion, or freedom of religion, what should be reflected in our constitution is that there should be freedom of religion in every religion. Every religion is given equal rights in the country and is respected. So it's a pluralized country, it's a secular country, and so that must be emphasized. And patriotism should also be something that should be emphasized in the constitution, like our constitution should be all-inclusive, that everybody has a sense of belonging in that constitution. So it is the segregation of some picked element. It's something people who came to do that constitution, 1999 constitution, was based on their selfish, political, and greed. That is the reason why they did that. So they did not put Nigeria as a whole into consideration. They did not put our the religious sensitivity of Nigeria into consideration. They did not put different cultures into consideration. They did not put the development aspect of the country into consideration. They just came and imagined something and they put it, and they expect us to just take it hook, neck, and sinker. And that is why we need critical minds in Nigeria. And the reason why Nigeria is nosediving, or we are retrogressing, is because the beautiful minds, those who are intelligent, those who should understand these things, one, they don't even vie for power, or two, if they even vie for power, they won't give them power, or secondly, they keep quiet, they don't do anything, probably because they too have fallen victim of the corruption. They have been shut down, or they've been made to fear that when you speak, something is going to happen. But the truth is the truth. You can't run away from it. So if we have a book that is not called a constitution, that is not all inclusive, and it is, what do you call it, and some people feel alienated or discriminated, then we should go back to that book. And that is the only way we'll come back to what I say, we'll begin to tolerate each other, because our constitution has helped us to understand our differences, and everybody is included, or every tribe or every region is included in that constitution. And all our needs are captured in that constitution, which most of it has to do with the socio-political and socio-religious aspect of our country. But religion is a very sensitive thing. Yeah, religion is very sensitive. If we are not careful, it destroys. Not that they are going to Islamize. Yeah. If they know that Nigeria will be Islamized. But once the people, there are fundamentalists in every religion, even in Christianity. And that is why sometimes you see some sect in Christianity feel that our part of the Christianity is more superior than the other part of Christianity. Maybe Catholic and Anglican, or Protestants and Catholic. You see, there is that tension. Religion is something that brings tension, and it can even lead to war. And religious war can be more dangerous. It can be more dangerous than the ethnic war, because religion war now, you see, it involves everybody, because somebody must belong to one religion there. So the constitution should be reviewed.
I agree that the constitution needs to be readdressed.
It should be readdressed.
Brought to the table and all interests properly captured. I would like to take a comment from Alagi, your brother.
Yeah.
He said the federal government is culpable in the present ethnic crisis in the country. Lopsidedness is in the area of appointments is fueling the impression people are having against this particular ethnic group. Their careless defense of criminals among them is also a bad signal. Did you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I think there was a time here, and there was a time we talked about such a situation. And when you look at it critically, Nigeria has gone into that inclination. It is that inclination, either people make their appointment based on the religion, whoever is in power in Nigeria, either he makes a power based on the religion he belongs to, or on the ethnic group he belongs to. Because most of the time, if you see the politicians in Nigeria, it is the problem of insecurity. So people want people whom they can trust around them. And now we cannot run away from that. And it is that came about when we begin to say, okay, if this year a Christian should be the president, in other political, a Muslim should be, you see where we caused our problem. Yes, I agree with it could be one government, but it might not even stop with this government. If that issue is not resolved, why did it start like that? Favoritism in appointment might not only be that it is nepotism or the people of my tribe. It might even be that my friends. But are they capable? Are they appointing those who are going to make the difference, or are they appointing those in sentiment? So most times, if you look at Nigeria, even right from the inception of democracy, every appointment has been based on sentiment of either the religion you belong to or the tribe you come from. Connection, my brother and I did there, which means that he can put me there. You know somebody is not capable, but you appoint him and put him in an office because he's from your place. Not only with this government, it has been there. Maybe it was not pronounced then based on how we look at it, on the sentiments now. It might not be pronounced then, but issues like that have been there in Nigeria, that it is the connection of who knows who and who is going to protect my interest. Because tomorrow when you look at it based on appointment, I told somebody, I said, even if we look at it from that aspect, appointment is not my problem in Nigeria. It is, what do we call it, representation, that there is something, we are seeing that there is development. We're seeing that the person who is appointed is doing his job. Because I might say, okay, I want to appoint somebody, and I appoint from there. I might appoint somebody who I feel is my brother, but he's not participating. He's not working. Or I might appoint somebody who might say, okay, because I want to balance appointment, I'll tell these people, give me somebody. And they give me somebody who is not capable, and the person is not functioning. Yes, the person in power, the person I've appointed is an Igbo man, and if he's not representing the interest of the Igbo, or what good is he there? Or is also representing the interest of Nigeria? Of what good is he there? So these things started a long time ago, but we did not address them, and it becomes a norm amongst us. If we had addressed them when we saw them long time ago, from 1999, I think by now, Nigeria would have been balanced. If we refuse the political parties to be bringing candidates to it based on religion or based on region or based on tribe, they should give us candidates based on their quality and their capability, that this person is the right person for the country. If you want to even take of nepotism, where do you put those of us, those other people they call the minority? Nigeria is not only made up of Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo, but our problems is anchored on these three tribes because they are the majorities in the regions, and they talk about the three regions. Where do they leave the others? And that was why, at a point, Nigerians opened their hands to embrace the coming of Goodluck Jonathan as the president, because he comes from a minority side, which is the Niger Delta. So why can't we go that way again and look beyond these other three major tribes? Look beyond Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo. Look beyond them first. Let them give other Nigerians the opportunity, who are not of these three main tribes, the opportunity to rule. And that is what we call the inclusiveness. And that is where the Constitution must have to be readdressed again. So the Constitution should not be made anchored on based only three tribes in Nigeria. We have over how many hundreds of tribes? Even within we who are the minorities, there's this marginalization within the minorities. You and I were from Benue. When you come to Benue State, you see what happens there. If you don't belong to a particular group or a particular tribe, you cannot go into the government house. So you should look at it we should look at it at a broader perspective and not see because of the person who is in power. Because the person who is in power, for me, I know in a short while he will leave. The next person who is coming, we might even accuse him of worse things than the person who has left. So we would have addressed these issues long time ago. We should have addressed it long time ago, not today. We planted the seed, and now we are reaping the fruit, and we are crying for what we planted.
Thank you so much, Father. You said so much. It's about, people holding leaders accountable. And once we begin to, give them fire, they will stand up and be more responsible leaders. Because truly, the way it's going, if we wait for them till 100 generations from now, they might just continue to do their own thing. But once we arrest ourselves, we will hold them accountable. Thank you so much, Father. We will be rounding up our discussion right now with comments from our viewers. Godfrey Howard said, the priest is saying nothing but the truth. Nepotism is what is killing us in Nigeria, which you extensively addressed. So thank you, Father. And then True Talk, someone is hailing you.
Hi.
All right. So, guys, thank you so much, Father Mark, for saying so much on Peace Talk with Mercy. You said a whole lot, and I wish I could just package our discussion today and send to the villa and send to governors or some very key stakeholders to listen. The Nigerians are calling on them to resolve the ethnic tension in the country. It dates back to when Nigeria was formed in 1914, amalgamation. So our elders, our leaders need to bring stakeholders to the table and dialogue. We can't look away from this very, very, very disturbing, worrisome, situation in our country. I don't want to hear tomorrow that Nigeria has gone to war. It will not happen. And this is the
No, 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 no.
discussion that
I've
we have.
said that, it won't be a good thing.
It will not be a good thing. So that is why we'll keep talking and on Peace Talk with Mercy, calling all stakeholders to do the needful. Do the needful. Nigerians need to do the needful. People come on social media and they are just talking and attacking the other tribe. They don't even understand the consequences of what they are doing. But we need to let them know that we need to address things peacefully. So thank you so much, Father, for being
Like for my
so.
parting shots, I would like to give a parting shot on my summary. Like one of these, I said, violent conflict is caused mainly by social and political system that leads to inequality and grievance and do not offer option for peaceful expression of differences. Changes in social interaction, such as increased tension of violent conflict, influence the socially constructed nature of ethnicity. People should be more engaged in social constructive, we should get into constructive criticism and not just name calling. Social constructive explain the tremendous atrocities committed during ethnic conflicts. Once we can address these social issues, we will diffuse the tensions among ethnic groups, which is political or resources sharing. Such as when we don't address things, and that's why we have things like such as genocide, mass rape, and these are the things that come up during ethnic conflicts. When there is war, these are the things that we have to deal with. Ethnic cleansing, by the fact that by virtue of ethnicity, everyone becomes involved in the struggle, regardless of their intent. When you feel you become indifferent, you think it doesn't concern me. When the war comes, look at Rwanda, for example. Those who were thinking, no, it doesn't concern me. When it came, they were all, they got all involved at the end of the day because they refuse to address the issues from the grassroots. The dialogue, proper dialogue. Ethnic groups should be dialoguing consistently. They should be knowing their differences. And the government here comes in the fact that every ethnic group deserves to be respected. Like you've just said, that everybody should know their boundaries and their limits. So that you will not make the other ethnic group feel as if they are the problem. And they will be looking at you too as the problem. And then there's tension and there's the problem. So, like I always say, we should be part of the solution, not part of the problem.
Thank you so much, Father. That is a
Welcome.
good place to close. A part of solution, not a part of the problem. Thank you so much, and I'm glad that on Peace Talk with Mercy, we are trying to find solutions. So that is very good. Thank you so much, Father Mark. And I hope as we address those issues that will help us build peace in our country.
Thank you very much, Mercy. Stay blessed.
Sir. Thank you so much. So I'll just run with you too. Stay blessed and stay peaceful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. God bless you. Nigeria will be okay.
God bless you, sir.
Bless you.
Amen. 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 Yes, I believe so. Thank you, sir. All
Welcome.
right, guys. That was from my guest, Father Mark Alagi. He said so much that I hope to still, highlight from our discussion today on my page. So continue to follow Peace Talk with Mercy. Continue to believe in one Nigeria. Continue to work towards that one Nigeria, and continue to do your best as a Nigerian, wherever you are, whether you're a leader, you're a citizen, wherever you find yourself as a Nigerian, be a peaceful Nigerian. Thank you, and we'll be back on Monday to continue with these discussions. Meanwhile, stay safe and have a beautiful, blessed week. Bye-bye, and peace out from me. Thank you so much, Mr. Michael Ajayi, Godfrey Anwo, and every other one that stayed to the end. I'm grateful. Bye-bye.